let me just say this. I would trade that man for 2 used tires and a tank of gas at this point. Okay?
Will, what's going on, my friend?
Man, what's going on? What's going on?
We're trying to fix NBA teams, and for the last 10 days or so, you've been doing your best to do that with the Lakers. So we figured we'd give you the floor on this one.
Now, Will, hold on, Will, because look, we want to do a legitimate job at this. All right, we really want to fix the LA Lakers. So I want to just for the people who that may not know, I want to make sure that they know what situation the Lakers are in. Alrighty, and then we'll talk about what moves can we do and discuss how we can fix them. All right, now the Lakers are not in the best salary cap situation. All right, now
absolutely not.
The projected salary cap number, and I'm doing some reading here. This is not off the top of my head, so this is accurate, people. All right, the upcoming. All right, salary cap is projected to be at $119 million. All right, keep that number in mind, $119 million. All right, so the Lakers will have no cap space in the next free agency period. All right, so Westbrook has a player option worth $47 million. All right, so of course, what a player option means, he can opt in. It's his decision whether he want to opt in or opt out. Of course, Westbrook is going to opt in to get that $47 million. All right. LeBron has $44 million. Anthony Davis $37. Now, that puts them at $129 million already. The cap is $119. 3 players put the Lakers at $129. You can kind of see where I'm going with this, all right? So
that's not how they explain that to people on a regular basis. They don't understand that. Yes, you can go over the cap, but most people don't understand what luxury tax means.
Right.
And so what luxury tax with the NBA is for every dollar you're over the salary cap, you have to pay another dollar. And so and people don't understand that the Lakers have been in what is called a repeat offender tax, luxury tax. So that means they've done it multiple years now. So everybody was like, why did they keep Alex Caruso? Well, they didn't realize that keeping Alex Caruso at his $8 million would have been a $33 million salary cap hit, luxury tax. See, most people are not talking about that.
Yeah,
exactly.
And those are real. Those are real dollars the team has to spend.
Yeah. They have to pay that.
Yeah.
So, I like Alex Caruso, but is Alex Caruso worth $30 million to your franchise? He's not going to sell that many jerseys.
Exactly. Now, let's go to how can we fix the Lakers? All right. What legitimately can be done to fix the LA Lakers? All right.
All right. Legitimate. All right. So here's legitimate. Legitimate is that you move Westbrook. I mean, me personally, I say this jokingly, and I don't have any personal animus against Russell Westbrook. But let me just say this. I would trade that man for 2 used tires and a tank of gas at this point. Okay? So it's one of those things where it's not because he's not a great player. It's not because he's not a Hall of Famer. He does not play winning basketball. It is proven he does not play winning basketball.
I think you're on to something.
And that's just one of those things. And if you're not watching, like, here's a small dynamic that I've been watching with the Lakers. He has an infectious personality because he's a type A personality. If you're watching LeBron and some of the things that he's doing now, as far as doing the Sam Cassell nut grab thing, and, every time they seem to get a little lead, they're smiling, joking, laughing, making mean faces, doing all these high fives. But what people are not understanding is that they're taking on the personality of Russell Westbrook.
Right.
And that's not a good thing, man.
That's an interesting take. I didn't think of that. I like that. That makes a lot of sense.
It's shaping and molding the team in the likes of Westbrook. But I think you're on to something because you won't get a great player for Westbrook, of course, right? And you're not going to because his salary cap is so high, you're not going to get like a Ben Simmons for him because that's the only thing you can look for, a bargain basement, as far as there's a salary matchup. Do you want a John Wall for him? If you're not going to go that level of another team's problem for your problem, a straight problem from problem, the next thing to do would be to trade Westbrook to alleviate cap space. So trade Westbrook with some picks to maybe just 4 picks, all right, to like a Houston Rockets team who has a load of cap space, if they were able to offload John Wall, a team like that.
You must forgot just 2 years ago, Westbrook was on the Rockets.
Right. He's been on a lot of teams.
That's not going to want him back.
No,
so,
I understand.
And I keep hearing all these people. I hear all these people every day. They're talking about, oh, y'all on Westbrook's head. You're on Westbrook's head. I did a post that ended up going viral, and they were talking about I was talking about Westbrook. But at the end of the day, there's 29 other teams in the NBA who wouldn't want his salary, who wouldn't want him on their team. Now, that says something. You know what I mean? That says something that for a Hall of Fame player, I've never seen this before. A Hall of Fame player in their prime being traded 4 times? Tell me that when has that happened?
Right.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And like, you talk about the Lakers would love to get rid of him or should get rid of him. There are literally no takers. You can go up and down the whole league, and there is not one situation that jumps out and says, this works for them.
Right.
Adding Westbrook to what they have works for them.
Exactly. And I just want to let people know we've been working 10 minutes on the audio. We just fixed that, all right? But we are just talking about fixing the Los Angeles Lakers. Hopefully we have some lip readers in the house, all right? and Westbrook is the point of issue right here. We're trying to figure out how to offload Westbrook. And that's just going to be a tall task, but you have to do it, right? That is the first step to really, really fixing the Lakers. And guess what? Westbrook is going to have some games where he plays well. I mean, that's the nature of the game. He is a professional basketball player at a good level, so he's going to have games. But ultimately, we know when the playoffs come, when the big moments come, he's going to make bonehead decisions. He's just not a great decision maker.
Will, I do want to ask you, like when we talk about Westbrook's personality sort of taking over the team, does that speak to the fact that nobody else on this roster has a bigger personality or something to balance that?
All right, so here's what I would say. The only other alpha male that would be on that roster would be LeBron, clearly, right? But one thing about Westbrook, and one thing about, obviously y'all both know I deal with a lot of these professional athletes all the time, is one of the things that I know and I happen to notice is that a player of LeBron's stature who takes the type of ridicule that he does, there's a certain level as you get older, you start understanding where you get it to those modes. I forgot, is this a PG show?
No.
I got that. All right. You go into those moments, okay? And LeBron is in those moments right now. He's no longer going to try to do the image. If you notice, he's been cussing more during his press conferences. He's been doing some different type of antics. You know what I mean? Like, there's been some different changes in LeBron is because Westbrook is there. Because at the end of the day, even though LeBron has this alpha male and LeBron can say whatever he wants to say, he likes how Westbrook don't care. If you watch how Westbrook moves and how he talks during press conference, he doesn't care. Like, at the end of the day, if he has a triple dub, hey, if we lost, hey, we just got to play better. I'll take it later. And that's one of those things where Westbrook, if people, this misconception, this media-driven enthusiasm about who he was, he's a player that capitalized right on time. Because if we want to talk about it and be honest about it, Russell Westbrook has never made a all-defensive team, right?
Right.
But let the media tell us, he goes all out every game. He gives you everything he has. People watch the game. Because I'm going to be a person that openly admits to you that I never really watched Russell Westbrook play because he's never been on my team. I just wouldn't see the highlights, see the stat lines, like, oh, he must have been balling out. But now as I'm actually watching him play, watch his effort on defense. His man, any basketball person with any IQ knows that if your man beats you off the dribble and now he's penetrating into the lane and the help side man has to help you, that means you're going to have somebody open because Russell Westbrook stays in front of nobody. And I mean nobody. And just watch those nuances. Those are the details. Like basketball heads, true basketball heads, they see it, they understand it, and that's why they're like, yo, this is not a winning formula. They're already the oldest team ever, right? You're talking about a franchise where we are romanticizing about what they used to be. If this was 2012 and they had this roster, I'll be with everybody on this super team. They'll be running the league.
Now,
But we're talking about guys who were kicked out of the league. Carmelo Anthony he literally had no job for a year. You had Dwight Howard, who had to do a tryout. Remember, this is an all-time top 75 player, right?
right.
Who had to do a tryout, a private tryout, and then they discussed amongst players like, do we really want this dude? Like, you understand what I'm saying?
No, I understand what you're saying, and those are players that you have to grab. You have to get those guys from the bargain basement. You know what I mean? Once you're over the salary cap with just 3 players.
Yeah.
So, you know, the other players on your roster are going to be imperfect. But to play devil's advocate now, and we are trying to fix the Lakers, but just a little, let's slide a little back into the history. This is LeBron James' decision to have Russell Westbrook on this team. All right, and that was solely his position, his thing. They had DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan has been in like he's been on a damn podcast tour, letting everyone in the world know the deal was already done. He was already signed and ready to come to LA. Okay, you know, Westbrook. You know, he flies out to LA, meets with AD and LeBron. LeBron tells Rob, "Hey, we're getting Westbrook. I don't care what you have to tell DeMar." Okay, of course we know the Buddy Hield deal was basically done. So this is LeBron's decision to choose Westbrook over these other better options and better fits for the team.
Okay, and so let me look at it as you playing devil's advocate. I understand where you're coming from. So, and y'all know I'm one of the biggest. Some people would call me an apologist for LeBron, but I will sit there and say that LeBron picking up Russell Westbrook is not his choice. You have to always go and look at the head. LeBron is not the head of the Lakers. The head of the Lakers is Jeannie Buss. And Jeannie Buss looks at the end of the day, she looks at that spreadsheet. That spreadsheet says, and you know, when she goes in that board of trustee meeting and she's talking to these people, like, what does this move look like for us financially? Okay? Because you're talking about bringing in $44 million. LeBron got a lot of power, but he ain't got that kind of power. Because remember, somebody signed his paycheck. So, with that being said, when they sat there and looked at it, they said, bring Russ home, television revenue, our private network, the national TV network that's going to be sitting there paying us all these dollars, these exorbitant dollars, the ticket sales that we're going to have, the season tickets going to be sold out, the jersey sales. So at the end of the day, they said, you know what, this is a good business move. Win or lose, at the end of the day, a lot of people don't understand this. Wins and losses is not a franchise first goal. The Orlando Magic have proved that already. You know what I mean? It's not your first option. Your first option is to make sure that you are in the black.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they care about.
No,
you know, at the end of the day, the Duvall family has shown throughout the years that they could care less about winning a championship or putting out the best product, period. They just want to make sure that they stay in the black. They cut a profit at the end of the day.